Yo, what is up folks? TrepCG here with some Boros Burn. Karlov Manor is finally out. That means not only do we have a Lightning Helix from the set, we also have Smuggler's Copter as the list has made it onto Arena. And the new version of the list does have this in it. You can now craft it. Actually, Explorer and Pioneer super close right now. And so we'll be looking at Boros Burn in Explorer here. Red white aggro, lots of burn spells, but let's start it off at 1. We have our 4 copies of Soulscar Mage, our 4 copies of Monster Spear, and our 4 copies of Kimono Faces Kakazan. The 3 red 1-drops that will be in basically every red deck for the next couple of years, I'd imagine. We also have at 1 4 copies of Play With Fire, 2 damage to start any target. If you hit a player, you get to scry 1, it's just efficient burn. But also, one thing I wanted to point out here is that Kimono Faces Kakazan is getting even better with the kind of Rise of Amalia combo. Because they're playing things like Return to the Ranks, ways to bring their creatures back from the graveyard, Etching's ability to make sure that if a creature's dealt damage by a source you control, actually exiles instead of going to the graveyard is actually super important. So you've got 4 copies of Smuggler's Copter, the super awesome aggressive creature, attacks for 3 in the air, loots your bad cards away, whether that be 1-drops later on in the game or you turning your lands or finding new lands. It's so good. You then have 4 copies of Lightning Helix. Hey, 3 mana, 3 damage. We're also playing Lightning Strike here, but Lightning Helix giving you that extra gain life, which is crucial in some of the aggro mirrors. Just really awesome. And then 4 copies of Eidolon on the Great Revel. One awesome thing now with Lightning Helix is that we've got a bunch more actual burn and reach here, and so the extra chip damage from Eidolon is going to be even better than it was before. Play With Fire, Lightning Helix, Lightning Strike, and then at the top we've got Skewer the Critics at 3 damage, but for 3 mana. Or alternatively, if you've dealt damage, we are casting it for Spectacle, so 1 mana, 3 damage. Any target, just like a Chain Lightning, and then light up the stage, kind of holding everything together. 3 mana, extra top 2 cards to your library. Turn on the next turn, you can play those cards, but Spectacle here. And so, because we've got more ways, especially with Smuggler's Copter, to do damage over the top that they can't block, or ways like Eidolon, we've got Kimono as well. We've got a bunch of ways to trigger Spectacle effects, and we're kind of leaning into these pretty hard. The mana base, and then I'm going to go through the sideboard. We will be taking this to do some best of 3 ranked matches, because there's some pretty cool white sideboard cards. If you look at the main deck, it's only Lightning Helix here, but really, you get some really powerful sideboard cards with the white splash, and so we'll be playing some best of 3. 4 copies of Shaken Foundry, 4 copies of the Verge Pathway, 4 Vantages, a Battlefield Forge. You can play a second one if you're daring, but I wanted to play a Mountain because I'm worried about Field of Ruin. But hey. 4 copies of Random Act Ruins, you get that free extra damage from your mana base. Well, I say free, costs you some life. Hey, we've got Helix to pay for it now, might as well. And 2 copies of Den of the Bugbear, just like versus decks playing Wraths. Really solid. The sideboard then. Like I said, there's a few different things in here which are pretty cool that you get to play for the white splash. I'll go through the other things first though. Crafting's Cage stops creatures in graveyards and libraries, and spells from graveyards and libraries, particularly important versus Collected Company, Quarter Calling, all that nonsense. Obviously, it's, I think, the graveyard hate piece of choice at the moment. You can play Rest in Peace, which would be another great reason to flash white, but I don't think you need it right now. Cage stopping all the Amalia nonsense from the library is super important. We then have 4 copies of Rending Volley. Red and white creature decks, including things like Amalia, whether that be something like mono white aggro, the Amalia combo deck where your creature that you want to interact with a white Grease Fang, where that's white, or things like Spirits, Angels, all that nonsense. Just really solid removal spell. And then we've got 2 copies of Rolling Vertex. We want to stop our opponents getting life. Is another great answer to Amalia nonsense, but also things like Angels. And versus control decks, you also want to bring it in and just burn them out like a Silverian Vortex over time. Then the white cards. So first you've got 2 copies of Fragmentize. We unfortunately don't have Wear Tear on Arena, which is like the red-white split card that hits an artifact or enchantment, but this is pretty solid. Most of the things you're wanting to pop are CMC4 or less. The only caveat here is a sorcery. But for 1 mana, very efficient. We then have 2 copies of Heartflame Duelist, which I really wanted to try out. So 2 mana for a 3/1. It does have the Heartflame slash ability to do 3 damage to any target, but importantly, instant sorcery spells you control have lifelink. That'll be a nice little sideboard plan versus other aggro decks, where all of a sudden you're killing the creatures but gaining life of them as well, or you can put them in their face and gain the life that way too, while kind of racing. And the last 2 things, it's a little worse in Explorer Pioneer than it is in Modern, but I thought I'd try some Deflecting Palms here since we got it from Kazakhstan here. The next time a sorcerer choice will deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage, but instead you deal damage to its controller. So your opponent has a big creature they're attacking you with, you Deflecting Palm it, do that damage to their face, sometimes you kill them. Hey, it is pretty sweet. So, let's hop into some best of 3 ranked games. If you're not already, I'd really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Yeah, let's get into some ranked. Alright, first match with Boros Burn. I've been deranked from Mythic to Platinum the new season. But we do get the opportunity to play, and so we of course will. Seems very solid. Have our colours, have a optimal turn 1 land play with the Bugbear, and yeah. So far so good. Mythic Championships League. Oh. See what our opponents up to. Alright, given that we actually have this play with fire, I'm going to lead with Soul Sculpt. It's a little nicer and interactive. My flight's being a little bit slow. Hopefully balance out. Yeah. I'm leaning to wanting to cast the play with fire on too. Looks like we're just going to get... Oh no, okay, it's Thoughtseize. Given Thoughtseize, you gotta expect like back row mid range. They take the Swift Spear, which means they probably have these answers. They're a tough one. I would like to use this to scry, however, like if they play like a blood type harvester, we're actually in a really weird spot. I'm gonna attack here. What they do. Well, they had Bankbuster anyway. I should just. That's fine. I'm gonna cast one of these. I feel a bit bad, obviously not using it main phase to get the pump, but I'll take the second creature. Second creature's nice. Insurance does something like Liana as well. I'm gonna hold this play with fire until we have both play ideally. We'll go ahead. I don't feel good. Yeah, we'll solid both next. The way we're sequencing, we'll be able to, if they play a creature here, kill on and stab. And then if they have a trespasser, it's a bit awkward, but deal with most of that. There's a shock, so they're down to 12. It is in fact straight fast. It's a bit more annoying. See, there's nothing for them to. They deal with the Swift Spear actually. Exile. We're going to be helixing here. A little awkward spot. I'm probably going to wait till we draw stuff and see. So we also crew in response. Makes our attacks a bit weird. Then with 4 cards in hand, if they get to absorb some life in the Bankbuster, kind of bad. But like leaning towards the point we're going to be dropping shots. Blackrock's another matchup where you definitely want like the vortexes. The game, like something your opponent gaming life is pretty important between Shieldred and Passer here. This card versus aggro is kind of nuts. You can also just make the attack and see if they crew or not. The problem is if they decide to crew up and block with the we're in like a bit more trouble. We're not dying to it, but like they're gonna get to attack with this, they're gonna get some life, we're gonna be in a bit more of a position. Yeah, everything, and especially we got the bug, but I think we do still make the attacks. See how they respond. We need Soul Scar Mage and like be able to pump itself, and be able to get the guys -1/-1 cannons. I feel pretty decent about it. Like if we have to send a play with fire at the Reckoner Bankbuster, I'm gonna say go. 6, 11 this is right now. We might just send it. We have to play with fire first. If in doubt, we can play with fire the Great Richer. See what we see more information. We have an Eidolon on top. Oh, insurance. If we kill this here, we're putting them down to 5. Then we've got Eidolon plus the Soul Square Mages, and they've got nothing in play. Seems decent. Pretty awkward if they draw late shot. As long as we square this to the bottom, play the land, we're close to activating this. I think this is. Let's do it this way. So with this play, I'm gonna Helix here. I'm gonna discard the Sacred Foundry. No, it's too late for them to. I kind of like getting them off the board while still, like, the lifesteal is going to be at 5, so I'm going to be high. The other way maybe plays around the shield drift better when we put this on the bottom, but I'm still going to put them under pressure. See how this plays out. Them having the back message draw cards is like awkward. Source card mage means that we can actually kind of deal with shoulder. But yeah. But like upside, it's like gaining life, but if they want to play in the interaction they draw off of this, it's going to be taken. Let's see. That's not fantastic. Smuggler's Copter really awkward with children. Just incredibly awkward. But something that attacks over this. Awkward time to draw, honest. They need to kind of respect it now. Drawing like a light at the stage would be yeah. They still have a backmaster activation out here. They're in 9, I'm trying to think if there are any live draws. Yeah, so we're gonna get to crew and attack with it. To the point where they should be attacking with children, maybe, but there it is. We take, see if I draw a step, see if we draw. So we hit. And I think he's gained too much life. I'm gonna have to gain a bunch off of it. And we can kind of make this smaller and maybe try and ambush it, but I think it's for what like. I'm gonna pass back. Oh, it is now nighttime. Alright. Oh, there's a duplicate copy of children. Again, gain a bunch of life. Bunch of life. Gets to kind of try and ambush a bit. This has death touch, doesn't get to. I'm not gonna reveal what we've got. This block about this. I'm not giving anything away. This way it also means if they have a third shoulder, they don't get to play it. Alright. Zap this thing down. Alright, we hit land off the top. They have this flipping. They have this. I'm gonna play this out. I have to play this because we can at some point activate this, but this is a. If I was playing best of one and racing, I would have conceded the game a while ago. But it's like not out of the question. We find our way back. They're on 17. The way that we find our way back is like chaining light up the stages. They're also getting back. I think we're done. I'm just gonna keep this up and go to game 2. Alright. Yeah. King Copter. Eidolon's a weird one there. This is so I didn't. There's one cyber card I actually realized I forgot to talk about. That was Dust of Dawn. Destroys all creatures power 3 or greater. This is excellent here, and excellent in a bunch of other matchups actually. We're not really using the Dawn side, like its upside you can maybe activate it, but Dusk in particular to blow up all the big creatures versus decks like this versus mono green, really good. I used to play this a bunch when I was playing like Green White Company in Modern. But it's pretty cool here too. I also want to bring the Roiling Vortexes, and that'll probably be it, I think. other stuff. In terms of what we're cutting, some number of skill critics, potentially actually 3. I'm just trying to think about it. Cut down to 3s. The reason why is because our opponent's playing a bunch of removal, spot removal in their deck. There's a decent chance that these get stuck in our hand. That's the more awkward thing. Light up the stages, card advantage, we want these. But screw the critics in particular, like, it's not super efficient there either. So we'll sideboard like this. We'll leave one in. But yeah. We get Dusk, we get the friends. I feel pretty good about our post-border games. So like, see how it rolls up. And we'll play. Alright, Commando's into Eidolon. Eidolon a lot better on turn 2, really. These are all lands that hurt us, which maybe going to be a pain, but we'll start here. Here is the Commandos. I also thought a bit about playing some Naya Burn. So there are things like Ataka's Command, which also works really well with all the 1-drops, of course. Alright, nice. Univerge Pathways, a great one. It means we're taking not quite as much damage, and we also get to play Eidolon as a 3/3, which means that it doesn't get stomped. It does die with a bunch of other stuff, but hey, you live with it. But this should get okay. Collapse. Fair enough. That is fine. Right, we draw into Lightning Helix. We get to flip this. We'll go ahead and play out our Soft Scar Mage. We'll make our attack for 2. They're at 15. I have Lightning Helix. We have Lightning Strike. See what they're up to. I need mana efficient here. I will end a turn Lightning Strike. Oh, I see. Oh, Torch. Okay, fair enough. Having good real for etching is harder, but awkward. We're at 12 though. Even we've got 2 Rana runes, I'm gonna absolutely play this Helix now. And we're probably gonna get horrifically punished, but I'm gonna try and rock it for maximum damage. There's 7 here. They're under pressure to make a pretty big play. In Bunker Giant, very solid, but we kind of, you know, draw steps to work out a bit. Trespasser. Alright. Yeah, Vortex. This could be a weird one. Next. They're at 7. You can pay life to prevent this. Solve. We'll see if they want to attack or not. They don't want to attack, I won't pay life. Alright. You take one. You gotta play with fire. Do what we want. That is fine. We want to stop this. How much do we care about this flipping? They're at 5 going to 4. I would rather it not flip. I'm gonna play with fire here. Round Ruins unlocks Round Ruins. There are 5 going to 4. We then have Ruins activation to put them. The other problem is if we're activating Round Ruins, we're not. This goes. Get better with these decisions the more I play the deck, I think. How much they want to race around. Ritual. Alright, that's Sheldred. So we're going to be under some pressure here. Now, yeah, this is going to be tight. Not getting life. Why are they targeting command? Doesn't agree. Not falling for it. Give it 12. Give it 10. Oh, we need to activate this. Now it's gonna flip as well. All right. Oh yeah, I basically have to pay. They know that I can't activate Ramen for it. They're gonna go to 3, which is not quite 1. They have a real spell. They have 4 cards. Gotta think, surely they have a... It's a block. Yeah, I guess if they did have a real spell. They have a way to get a card draw. If they've got a way to get like a blood token or something like that, saves them. It's a really weird game. Bankbuster gives them card draw. They can cut off the life. I go to 3. And then I go to... Oh, all these pain lands have kicked in the... Can't do it. I get to try and draw with Bankbuster. Oh, wild. They draw now. Yeah, big sad. Oh, the weird one. Sometimes it's like a mix between maximizing your damage and like playing around the cards they have. And yeah. Alright, see you in the next game. Alright, second match there. That's a kind of close one. Got a little punished for some decision-making decisions, I think. Yeah, kind of both early and mid. I was kind of like, alright, let's go all in on trying to hit like Ramanap runes, etc. And it wasn't quite good enough. Shieldred, quite a card. Turns out keeper. And game 1, like I could have just sequenced a little better with like playing with. Well, it's hard because like 2020 hindsight. But in theory, if I played my like play with fires like earlier on, you may have been okay. Max try to maximize damage off of them. Alright. Advantage. Come on, nice. Opponent is on Yorion. You'd normally think, especially with Teferi, they use like the blue-white Yorion control deck. Potentially with Lotus Field. But we will find that out. This is a bit of a weird one where like, hey, I want to cast. My experience is that Swordless Copter, like playing in paper, better than getting some sword counter. Next turn, we'll be able to play this, crew up, and attack with both of them. It's more important. pathway. So, Stoska Mage here. Go ahead and... We're gonna go ahead and crew. Any... Yeah. Combat. Oh, I wonder if we're gonna get a new, like, Smuggler's Cop to, like, move to declare attack. I think they fixed it. We will opt to loot. I think I'm just gonna discard this back for Forge. Fairly reasonable. We'll keep the Monetary Swift Spear in case they have some kind of temporary lockdown or other sweeper later on. And on these polar fires, this isn't actually in combat. Over the sea, yeah, okay. Like in theory, still could be like the Lotus version, but probably not at this point, or at least not like an early Lotus hand. We're at 14 here, so like next turn we can go place for spear through with etching, double player fire. Is for 10, 13. I'm kind of half expecting a temporary lockdown. There it is. Yeah. $14. $7. I'm gonna play one of these out now. Alright, let's go. Plan to go to the bottom. Helix, not too bad. Are you mana efficient here? I'm gonna Helix now. It also prevents it being, you know, like a counter spell, but so 7 they are at. We have a couple of damage in hand. To the Wandering Emperor phase of the game. Given the Swift Spear, we are going to end up attacking both. But hey, they could also not have it. They had a temporary lockdown. So it would be rude if they also had a Wandering Emperor. I'm sure they're playing 4 copies of each. This. Good pass it. I'm not playing this. It kind of gives them an opportunity to have like the Getcha moment. It's a bit more reasonable. I'll show intention. This would have been a reasonable point to play with fire as well. I was thinking I'd rather kind of keep it in the back pocket, not cast it. Like either use it on end step to try and find like another new card, or given like they would have definitely Wandering Emperor here if they had one. Unlikely that they do have one. Or if they're gonna like jam to F5, or if they have an actual sweep. Let's see what they do with this.
I'm known for my excellent timing.
We're untapping 2 land.
Hurry.
This is just lethal, I guess. I'm gonna have 2 mana open, but I expect like a veto. Still as close to the. Alright, Eidolon's pretty decent. Make the attacks. Base. I had to play it first because I'm not actually dead to these. At least threaten lethal here. Or at least it's not going to get absorbed, but I imagine we get vetoed or similar. Guess I've got actual spell. Oh, maybe that's dumb. I'm going to play the Eidolon first. But yeah, it plays around counter spells better. That was terrific. I should just play this first. I don't know why I've not done that. Okay. Down to Teferi. 5 mana. Oh. Need Teferi.
I'm not going to sit. You know what? I'm not done yet.
logic behind that was like they have to have an interaction spell to deal with, like. I guess well actually playing the spell beforehand this time would be a throw because they have absorbed mana. Even though this buffs Paris. Alright, okay. Right. Blue white post sideboard. So there's some cards that aren't very good here. Again, like keeping things in place to trigger Screw the Critics is pretty awkward. However, a lot of other stuff is like fairly deep. We're a little weak to temporary lockdown, but we're kind of gonna be weak. The only cards we're really interested in are these vortexes. And like potentially like we could change like skew out for like Halfling Duelist, get a bit more of quote unquote value, but I don't think it's worth it here. It's just a bit slower of a card. I feel like reasonably well. Still kind of. Oh no, we're gonna cut 2 copies of Skew the Critics and put in these fragments. Sorry, I'm waffling. But yeah, temporary adds to temporary lockdown and potentially some other stuff. I feel fairly decent about it. Temporary lockdown is just such a massive poser for us as well. And if we are able to out it, then we're in like a huge advantage. 4 lands isn't fantastic, but we're on the draw. We're gonna keep. Okay. Like very tempting to play 2 Swift Spears here. And if we had a fragmentation, I might do that. Ah. What? Alright, in that case, we will carry on with this plan. This card is super sweet. I'll definitely be playing some blue-white control in a video sometime soon. But Normalize is really cool. Oh, we do actually have a Fragmentized answer now, which is very solid. There is one thing where, like, in an ideal world, we're not leaving us vulnerable to, like, main phase. Like them main phasing Wandering Emperor, which is what attacking here does. This is fine. I'm gonna actually play with Fire Hammers. I kind of want to sneak this in. We're at a point in the game where Eidolon's okay, but not fantastic. I think we keep this. If anything, they'll put into more copies of Temporary Lockdown, even if they didn't have the full 4 main deck. And there'll be more of those than there will be like Supreme Verdicts, essentially. Alright. We are not planning on fragmentizing the opener this. But it is, we're kind of going to get them to use some kind of sweeper effect on these and then drop the Eidolon. Well, their interaction, even though they've got Wrath and things. We should absolutely. Oh, well, they can't interact with it. If they have March, they can maybe kill one of the creatures, but they would have done that already, I think. Well, they pass priority. They're at 7. So you can kind of like. Verdict. Okay. We have a Verdict. We have an Eidolon. Play a second round of that. Eidolon into. Yeah, my client's being a little buggy. Like being able to threaten to like lands off the top we draw at doing the Den of the Bugbear. Even though we have the Field of Ruin, like decent. This is so awkward. But just have to. You have to play into. I feel like we do. They're on 7. If they didn't have the Field of Ruin, I wouldn't feel the need to make this attack. Kind of making them use some options. Having a turn of just pass when we don't have another play, and we also don't have a way. We're not like we're giving them an opportunity to just spend a turn doing this. Not great. Okay. Alright. Attacking the Wandering Emperor for Samurai is also a little bit of a red flag. We may well have another one. But we'll see. They are thinking about the Field of Ruin activation. Them doing it when we're not using mana on the field on the Den of the Bugbear is decent. But we'll see. Alright, we have a Lightning Strike. Go ahead and make the attack. They block. We try Lightning Strike this. It is that, like, hey, if they've got a counter spell, still got Mage Survives, you trip the guy. They did have a second Wandering Emperor after all.
Run away. You'll be safe.
You could put a counter here, but it's probably worse than just exile the creature. Alright. Go to 6 here at least then. Now they've not got Lifeless Wandering Emperor and they're on 6. They have 3 cards, like maybe they'll counter spells. But yeah. Karlov Manor. They still have it. Going to be a game 3 angle.
Strike fast and strike hard.
This Wandering Emperor line, I guess, closes the game out faster. I just like getting the guaranteed life there. You have to fill our deck. It doesn't actually attack through. We want to play the land because we have like light up the stages. Got part of advantages. Alright. Still Brun and then the Bugbear. I want to be respectful and give our opponent one more turn cycle and then a bit too much. Given the amount of tokens on this, the memory as well, story and stuff, I think we're done. Just gonna speed this up a little. Have a game of 3. They're on 6, but they've got infinite. I still feel pretty good about this sideboard plan. The Fragmentize like got stuck in my hand there, but I think just how good it is against Temporary Lockdown, which is like the best card against that. That's not all Emperor anyway. See, I mentioned Boros Charm being a card that we're like sort of missing at the start. I was going through the deck tag. The other card that's like kind of interesting there is Skullcrack, which is really good versus these blue-white decks, which is like a particular thing getting you life. It stops that while also dealing damage actively. Alright, we'll keep this. We have a really awesome start with Kamano and these creatures. But then additionally, we also have this might be a I still want to lead Kamano. So if we go like Soulscar into multi-specific Kamanos, I think this is still like a little bit more solid. We also like actively want them to use a temporary lockdown. The point where I think this is better than just making an idle on it. We end up with more stuff in play coming off the back of it. We'll see how this plans out. All sounds a bit weird. A couple of turns away though. You add in action. It's I think it's really up in the air right now. What's the best way to like build blue white? Opta. Opta buffs this, but I think it's the ideal time to play this. Because I'm not gonna be able to. We're hurting ourselves so badly here. Okay, there are 14. Good Vortex. The problem currently of all our cards are good. I'll leave with us, we got the Soul Scar Mage. We're doing so much damage to ourselves. At least we didn't take damage from the lands for this one. Like, if they absorb this, they like gain 1 life account out of this, they then take 6. Omen. This also plays around Supreme Verdicts a little. So we do need to find another. Okay. They have locked down. I put them to 4. This takes everything. I don't want to draw a land here. Not a land, but did you get to do that? Alright, fair. I did think actually the permanents. They're gonna 1. They still have this in play. I'm gonna hold this just against the Supreme Verdict. Let's see. We agree this is not. The reason I wanted to draw a land was just so we could play this Vortex at the same time. Put this on. If they have like, well, actually, if they have temporary lockdown number 2, it doesn't really say. If they have Verdict, we get to keep Smuggler's Copter. We've got the Exclamation Crew. I think my most charitable reading is that they have Wandering Emperor. How best do we play around that? We don't have the mana to use the Vortex. I think the best thing we can do go try and play this. We've taken so much. It's a bit of a red flag. There's also kind of fishes some information from our opponent before combat. Nice. So we can go ahead and crew up. Move to combat. Our attack is. So, in with the. The Spoilers Copter is kind of a free discount at this point. Alright, there's the Wandering Emperor that we expected. What are we doing with it? Exile the Copter. We'll take action. Discard this one. They're on 2. I'm going to pay some life for a light at the stage. Ow. That hurt. Very real damage, you're doing ourselves some damage. We really needed to hit our land here. It's been a little embarrassing. We have this coming off of Suspend. And they're at 2. We also need to not lose the game to our own Eidolon. Right. Made things as awkward as possible. If we cast Lightning Helix, we literally take 5. Not 5. But can't get around. Alright, well, we nearly locked ourselves under the Eidolon, but we did manage to get our opponent with it. Well, I'll see you in a bit of a post-game wrap-up, and yeah. Alright, well. Some interesting matches. The Black Rat game, like, felt pretty close at points, but we kind of got, like, Sheldred's just such a good card. I think there's an argument, I think, for having more Rolling Vortexes post-board. But then the other thing is that we've been, like, pretty savagely kind of, like, got by our mana base with the Ram Labyrinth, the Battlefield Forges. The one thing I should say is also that we just didn't really see any light up the stages. And so seeing these to see more cards means we'll get more lands in play, which makes, like, seeing more lands and being able to put more lands in play makes, like, the Ram Labyrinth better. We didn't really end up with a bunch of lands in play in any of these games. And then the combination of this with the Battlefield Forge was a fun thing that we had to deal with in a couple of different matches there, which I think is like a bit of the wrong side of variance. But I think that you have 12 white sources here. Could cut the battlefield, fortunately. That's totally reasonable. And just play like another mountain here. And that'd be really okay. This is a pretty like rough. This wasn't a rough draft, but this is like still fairly on in terms of like playing with the deck, and so kind of making slight tweaks to the mana base. I think it's fairly reasonable. I think we have a fine white source wise because we're also like we've got Smuggler's Cult, so we've got stage like we did find our white sources, Helix, and our sideboard card. It does make the Dusk still one a bit more dramatic. Which if you missed it, I didn't talk about this much in the intro, but destroy all creatures with power 2 or greater, really good versus a bunch of decks. And obviously doesn't hit any of our stuff. It's solid. But yeah, I think the deck's really good. I think there's some slight tweaks and adjustments. Like I'm pretty happy with like most of these numbers, but the mana base needs a little bit of work. And yeah, some of the sequencing versus Black Red was not necessarily the best. Just like having play with fire is like a little bit when you're like, oh right, okay, I want to like hold this in with that creature. Oh, they didn't play a creature. Well, I should definitely just play this main phase to like put my Soul Skull Mage there. It's like, yeah, like 2020 hindsight. You just kind of have to live with that. But then, yeah, we'll see how things go. I think that's really solid. If you've got any ideas or technology, like, why aren't you playing this? In terms of cards I skipped, I talked a little bit about like how Naya Burn might also be really good. You play a Tarkus command with all these like 1-drops, and kind of like play into having the 3-color kind of base. Also, like Lightning Helix in theory lets you kind of deal with some of this life loss. In theory. The Sculptures on Arena, super exciting. It's gonna be really interesting in a bunch of different aggro decks and like sacrifice and all kinds of stuff. And so the like you play for it. And yeah, the formats are super close now. It's super close to Pioneer. So yeah. If you got anything in particular you want to see as well, let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like, please subscribe, and do share it around. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Peace out.